Welcome back. I'm Paul, and it's Sunday, so it is time to go through the 12-pound barrel and see how things were looking this week. All right. Well, I tried putting a little less water in last week, and it looks a little better. I've never had any problems with the amount of water I ran, but I've been just trying to get my water level down, and this week we can actually see some rocks sticking up through the water. So I think that was a little bit better. I've heard if you have a little less water in the first stage that it'll kind of thicken your slurry a little bit, and sometimes it can kind of grind a little bit better when there's a little less water in there. That's kind of why I've been working on getting my water level down, and I'm sure I won't notice a difference, but it's just something I've been messing with. We got a lot of Botswanas in there and a lot of Bahia Agates and red Jasper. A little bit of green aventurine. I'm hoping there's some Botswanas and some Bahia Agates that are ready to come out this week. I've had some that have been pretty close, so we'll see what they look like. I see our thunder egg there, and I think our geode also. We'll probably take a closer look at those again. See how that little experiment's going. All right, there's our last basket load. A lot of Bahias and red Jasper and Botswanas in there. All right, I'll go through those and see what's ready to move on, and we'll take a look at some of that stuff and see what we've got to fill the barrel this week and get it going again. All right, I've gone through everything, and everything's looking really nice this week. And we've got one Botswana that I pulled out this week. It doesn't have a whole lot going on. And it does have, I think, oh, this isn't the one that I was thinking of. Oh, yeah, it's got tubes on the top side here. You can kind of see how they go down into the rock, and it's like a tube in there. So there's a little bitty pinhole on the top of the surface, and you're never going to get rid of that because that tube goes down into the agate. So everything else on it looks really nice. So we're going to go ahead and pull this one and get it moving on to the next stage. And then we have a few of the Bahia Agates that are ready to go on. This one's got some really cool bands on it, and it's got those black specks that are kind of holes, but I don't think I'll be able to get rid of them. It's got some really neat banding on this side too. Just got some really neat designs on it. And it's kind of small already, so we're going to go ahead and pull that one. And then we've got this little guy. It's got a little quartz band that runs through it. It's got a little eye there. And then it's got some of the bands that you see on the Bahias. And then this one is looking pretty nice. I got a little grid on it because I got some on my fingers. But it's got a cap of quartz there. And then it's got all the bands going on. A little bit more bands on the bottom. That white stripe through there, I like that. It's kind of got a little discoloration in the quartz, but I can see that it goes down in there a ways, so I'm not going to worry with trying to get it out of there. It's all totally smooth. So we're going to move those ones on, and then also we've got this little Bahia Agate. And it's just got a bunch of eyes and stuff going on. It doesn't have too much of the banding, but it's all smoothed out and it's ready to go. And we've got a couple pieces of the green aventurine that are ready to move on. And these ones are looking pretty good. They've got a few fractures in them that I'm not going to be able to get rid of, so I'm just going to live with them. I guess I could grind the whole tip of that one off. You can see how it's white on the end. But we'll polish it, and if I ever decide that I want to do anything more with it later, I can do something with it later. And then other than that, we've got a few pieces of the red Jasper. This one's got some cool kind of pattern going on the backside. A little yellow on it, but it came in the batch of red Jasper that we got. And all this stuff that I got in this batch has a little bit of yellow going on it. It looks pretty nice. I like that. And then there's a few pieces of chert that are in there, and then I've got one piece of tiger eye that we're pulling out this week. It doesn't have a whole lot of excitement going on, but it's all smoothed out and ready to go. So that's what we're pulling out this week. And then here's some of the stuff we've kind of been looking at. This big Bahia Agate it's starting to get a pretty cool pattern going on there. You can see the bands, and I think as we grind down, we're exposing more of that. And then this side's got this end of it's got some stuff going on too. So it's looking really nice, and there really isn't there's a little bit of a flaw right there, but it's not too much, and then just one little spot there. But we're going to roll it one more week and see what it looks like next week, and maybe we'll be ready to move this one on to the next stage next week, and we'll get it going, polish it up. And then our Thunder Egg, you're still seeing all the agate there, and the rhyolite is just kind of smoothing off a little bit. It's pretty bumpy and rough, and you can see all of the agate veins running through there that you would be able to see, obviously, if you cut it, but we're just going to keep this one rolling and see what we can turn it into. It's looking pretty nice. And then our geode, it still doesn't have anything in it. It's a lot smaller than it was, and you're starting to see a lot more of the quartz. But it's looking kind of neat. We're going to roll it a little bit longer to see what it turns into. I'm kind of hoping that I'm able to pull it and see more quartz before we get to the hollow part on the inside. And I think it's hollow. It's fairly heavy, but I'm betting it has a hollow spot inside. But we'll see what we get. We'll roll it another couple weeks for sure. And then we've got some Botswanas and Bahia Eggettes here we're going to take a look at that are getting really close to ready. This one's looking pretty nice. It's got that fracture you can see in it, but that one goes all the way through it, and we're not going to be able to get rid of it. But there's one little white chip right there, and that doesn't go very deep. So I'm hoping one more week will get rid of that. You can't feel it, but you can see it, so I'm hoping to get rid of that little white flaw. Otherwise, it looks really nice. It's got pretty cool pattern on it. So that one's probably going to be ready next week. And then we've got this Bahia Agate, and it's got just a little rough spot on the back right here. But other than that, it's got a nice quartz pocket in it and a little bit of banding right there. So that one's looking really good. It's really close. It's looking nice. And this one is getting really close also. It's got a little dip in it right there, and I'm hoping to smooth that out a little bit more. But it's got some pretty cool lines on it. I like that one. This is one that we cut, but it's looking pretty nice. It didn't have a ton going on the outside. You can kind of see the bands, but when we cut it, you get to the inside, you can see them really well. So that one's looking nice. We've got another Botswana here, and it looks really good all the way around, other than on this little end right there. There's some white fractures, and they're not very deep. So I'm thinking that we should be able to get rid of those in a week or two. These Botswanas and the Bahias, they're really hard, so they take a long time to grind, but I want to get rid of those because otherwise that one looks really cool. It's got some pretty cool bands on it. It just has those little fractures there on the bottom we'll try to get rid of. Here's another Bahia Agate that has some I really like the patterns and the bands on this one. It's got those eyes on it right there. And then the whole bottom of it's all bands all the way around. And then it's got a pretty cool like fortification pattern on the back side here. But it's got a few little pits. There's a little hole in it right there, and then there's a little bit of a pit right there on the face. This one we cut too. So I don't know if we're going to get rid of all of that, but I think we can get a little bit better. I really like the bands on that thing. They look really cool. So that one's getting really close. And then we got 3 more Botswanas in here that are getting really close. This one looks good. It's got a little dip back there, but I could live with that. But it's got, on the bottom there, you can see just that little bit of white. And then on the top right by my thumb, there's just a little bit of a fracture right there. And I'm hoping we can grind that out in a week or 2. And this one also has a little bit of a bump on the back, but on the top right there, there's that little white fracture. And it's looking really nice. I really like the patterns on that one too. It looks cool. But I'm thinking a week or 2 on that little fracture right there, and we should be able to grind that off. And then the last one is we're going to look at today is this one, another Botswana. It's kind of got some eyes on the backside. And then it has a fracture running through it right there, and we're not going to get rid of that, and it's really close, but some of those eyes up here on this edge, they're a little bumpy yet. I think I can get them in the camera right there. You can see there's some little bumps right there. So hopefully in a week or 2 those are gone. So that's all the stuff that we've got going on this week, all the stuff that we took out, and we've got our water in there. And I had a 3-pound barrel rolling with Desert Jasper, and I finally got enough to, I'm going to actually try to polish all the way through in the rotary and not use the Lotto tumbler. And this is what I had left over from that barrel now that I have it full. So we're just going to throw this in. This stuff is really close to going to the next stage, but it's all got a little flaw here or there that I'm going to try to get rid of. So we're going to use that to fill the barrel this week. And that's probably pretty good. I'm going to dump just a little bit more water. I might throw a couple more Botswanas in there. I think we got a little bit more room. That should do it. We're about 2/3, maybe just a little bit over, but it'll usually settle in there after it gets going a little bit. We've got our 14 tablespoons of our 4670 silicon carbide. We'll get that in. And we'll get it back on the tumbler and get it rolling and see what it looks like next week. I'm hoping there's a lot more stuff ready to come out next week. So hopefully it's a good week on clean out. So thanks for watching.